Welcome back to Science Class Grade 5. This is video lesson 2. Last video we talked about plants, didn't we? We talked about vascular plants. We talked about simple plants. This is moss. We talked about seeds. We talked about spores and moss, simple plants, and ferns, which are vascular, but they produce spores. We talked about cones and cone-bearing plants, and we also talked about flowering plants and pollen, which helps to make flowering plants, okay? So that's what we talked about last week, okay? Today we will ask, how are plants made, okay? And there are two main ways that plants are made that we'll look at today. The first is sexual reproduction, when you have a male sex cell and a female sex cell. For example, with flowering plants, the male sex cell is the small grain of yellow pollen. Pollen is the male sex cell. And in the female part of a flower is called a pistil, which we'll study next week. Inside the ovaries of the flower, you have female eggs. Okay, so this is sexual reproduction. The other type is asexual reproduction, when plants do not need male or female sex cells. Okay, and we'll explore that part first. Okay, so guys, if you get your textbook out and your highlighter out, let's go to page 42. And it reads as follows. This type of reproduction is called asexual reproduction because it does not require the fertilization of male and female sex cells. Asexual reproduction in plants is also called vegetative propagation, okay? And guys, if you look at the picture above, it's a potato, a strange looking potato, because there are things growing out of it. That's an example of asexual reproduction, okay? The potato is producing new potatoes from its tuber, from itself, okay? So that's an example of asexual reproduction, okay? You guys can highlight this. And okay, we'll come on to vegetative propagation. This is when people help to make plants, okay? And we'll look at three main ways today, all right? So I'll read the sentence. This is on page 44. You guys can highlight this paragraph or sentences. It says, people have come up with ways to help plants to reproduce without seeds or spores. This type of reproduction is called vegetative propagation, okay? And you guys can highlight this, please. All right? The first type of vegetative propagation we will look at is called air layering. This is when people help create a new plant from an old plant, an existing plant, okay? And it says air layering involves cutting the outer layers of a stem and wrapping it in moist coconut fiber and plastic film. The cut region of the stem then develops roots, okay? This is on page 45 and you guys can highlight for me, okay? Excellent. That's air layering. What is Teacher Johnny talking about? Huh? He just keeps talking and I don't know what he's talking about. All right, well, let's go. Come outside with me, guys. Good morning, grade 5. Okay, we're outside. Look where we are. We're at your school, aren't we? Okay, and behind me is a rose apple tree, okay? And we're in science class and we're studying vegetative propagation, okay? There are three types. There is budding, grafting and air layering. Today we're going to look at air layering together, okay? I've got my trusty cameraman Clive with me, and I'm going to ask Clive, can you take a look down here? What do we have here? Okay, we have a bowl of water there. We have some plant nutrients, okay? We have a nice sharp cutter. We have a paintbrush, and this is coconut fiber inside a plastic bag, and we have a piece of string. You can buy this type of coconut fiber at any plant store around. You should be able to find it. Okay, so if you're ready, come with me, please, Clive. Oh, first of all, can we just take a shot of the rose apples on the floor to confirm this is a rose apple tree? Excellent stuff. Okay, and then let's go up here then, please, Clive. Okay, so guys, first thing, you want to select a good part of the branch, okay? Possibly you want some leaves to be exposed to the sun so it gets enough nutrients from the sun or energy. All you need is about 4 centimeters, maybe between 2 knots, okay? And very carefully, you just cut around in a nice circle like that, okay? Use a nice sharp cutter, okay? Come the other side. I'll try and do this as quickly as I can, all right? And then go down about 4 or 5 centimeters, do the same thing. Okay, all the way around the plant like this, okay? Come the other side. Okay, I'm sorry if my big head is in the way, guys, but what can I do? Nothing. All right, and I'm just gonna confirm that it goes all the way. And then very carefully just peel it back, okay? Peel it back like that. Okay, start to peel off, all right? Now, I'm not an expert at this, but I'll try my best. Don't cut yourselves, be very careful, guys. Okay, peel back, and you expose the underside of the branch then, okay? Let's score it one more time all the way around, because it should come off a little bit easier than this. Okay, maybe I didn't press hard enough. Okay, let's see. Again, be very careful, strip back the bark, okay? Yeah. I'm going to come around this side. Okay, we're nearly there. Good. Okay, and just what you want to do is just go with your knife like this and score it a little bit so you get all the bark off, okay, and you expose the flesh underneath the bark, okay? I'm doing this quickly, but you guys can take more time. It should roughly look something like that, okay? Excellent. All right, next job then. Clive, if you can come with me. Okay. We're going to use some plant nutrients. Now, you can make your own nutrients at home with compost, or you can buy from a shop, all right? And then you need a little paintbrush, okay? And then I'm gonna dip the paintbrush inside the plant nutrients. And I'm just gonna put that on there, okay? This just gives it a little bit of an extra kick and an extra push to be able to grow. Okay, don't need too much, something like that. Okay, and then we're back over here. I'm all over the place, and now I'm going to get my cutter again, and I'm going to make an incision straight down the middle of this bag. This is full of coconut fiber, don't forget, guys. Okay, so nice straight incision like that. I'm going to just moisten it in a bowl of water quickly. You can squeeze it out. Just make sure there's some moisture in there, okay? Now you're going to need your string next also, so let's come back over here, all right? Now you want to make sure the coconut fiber goes all the way around. You've got to squeeze it nice and tight. This is tricky. If you have 2 people, it's probably easier. And you want to make sure this rope, or this string I should say, comes around the plant just like this, all right? And we're going to pull it nice and tight, hopefully. Let's see, nice and tight. Get that in the middle. Oops, sorry if I got you wet. Something like that, okay. Double it back around. Tie it off. Make a nice little bow if you like. All right. And guys, in about 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully that should sprout some roots inside, okay? If it gets enough sunlight and enough nutrients, all right? This is probably the perfect season to do it, okay? We're gonna start getting some rain soon. And this, guys, is called air layering, all right? Thank you. Okay, and welcome back. That was an example of air layering. Okay, guys, if you wanted to try at home, make sure you have an adult present with you and make sure you're very, very careful with the cutter. Okay, that was air layering. All right, let's move on. What are the other two ways you can help to create plants? Okay, the other one is budding. Okay. It's the process of removing a developing bud from one plant and attaching it to the stem of another plant. The bud is then covered with plastic or wax. Maybe next week I'll give an example of how we can bud a plant. There's actually some simpler ways you can do budding also. All right, so you guys can highlight this in page 46, please. Budding. And then grafting is the last one. The third one is the process of joining two plants together to form a new plant. In grafting, a cut stem from one plant is slotted into the stem of another plant. Okay, that's on page 47. All right. Okay. Let's move on then. The other type of reproduction. So we just looked at asexual, we looked at vegetative propagation, didn't we, when people make plants. This is sexual reproduction when animals such as bees and butterflies, bats also, who are very good pollinators, help to create new plants, okay? In sexual reproduction, a new plant develops from two parents. Many plants reproduce sexually from seeds. Others reproduce from spores. Okay, this is on page 48 in the textbook. Nice highlight, please. Look at that flower opening, okay, opening with the sunshine, closing when the sun disappears. Okay, that's sexual reproduction. Let's go to our workbook, okay? This is page 19 in our workbook, and it says, what is asexual reproduction? Well, we already know, don't we, guys? It is when plants are able to reproduce from their roots, stems, or leaves, and does not need male and female fertilization. Okay, so you can press pause at any time, and you can use my answer to help you, okay? Excellent, let's go on then. I think this is the same page. Question 2, it says list 3 plants that can reproduce asexually and tell which plant develops into a new plant. Okay, that was a mouthful, wasn't it? But guys, if we go to page 43 in the textbook, okay, you might be able to see a little bit with this funky background, okay? On page 42 and 43, you can see 3 plants. We can see a potato, we can see a daffodil, and a long one, it says bryophyllum plant, which actually I see a lot of in Thailand. I'm not sure about the Thai name for this plant, okay? But guys, these are all 3 plants that can reproduce asexually. So look, we can fill in this part, we can say name of the plant, potato, and in your book, you can find this sentence. It says, shoot grows from potato tuber. Okay, that's just a part of the potato. Let's go on to daffodil. Daffodils were popular where I'm from in England. We used to pick daffodils and give to our mother for Mother's Day. Oh, isn't that cute? Okay, daffodils, they can produce new plants from the stem. Okay, and the stem is the green part of the plant that holds the flower up, isn't it? Okay, and the last one, can you say this word? Oh my, bryophyllum can produce new plants from its leaves. Okay, and if you look at the picture on page 43, it's a beautiful picture. You can see tiny, tiny, tiny little leaves on the bigger leaves, can't we? Okay, excellent. Let's go on then, page 20. It says, list 3 methods that people use to grow plants using vegetative propagation. Well, we saw in a video clip, teacher Johnny tried to show you one way, which was air layering. Can you remember the other 2 ways? It was and Okay, excellent. You remembered, right? Let's have a look. People can use the following methods to help plants grow: air layering, budding, and grafting. Okay, excellent. All right, page 44 in your textbook will help you answer this question which is on page 20, I believe, in your workbook. Okay, it says, order the stages below by placing 1 next to the first stage and 4 next to the last stage. If you want to try by yourself now, press pause. And we're back. Okay, so what's the first step? How to make a stem cutting. It says use clean scissors or a sharp knife to cut about 10 centimeters of stem or branch from the plant. Okay, excellent. Number 2, we have remove the flowers, buds, and lower leaves. Number 3, dip the stem in rooting hormone. What is rooting hormone? Well, if you remember back to Teacher John's video about air layering, the black liquid I had in a bottle, that was like plant nutrients. You could consider that the same as a hormone, okay? And number 4, insert the stem about 4 centimeters into soil, such as potting mix. Potting mix is just a mixture of soil and other things that help the plants to grow, like coconut fiber is excellent, and wood chips, okay, are very good too. Okay, excellent. Let's go on. Question 5, list 2 types of plant that can be grown from stem cuttings. Again, if you look on page 44 in your textbook, you'll find the answer. I should have had pictures up, but strawberry plants and impatient plants can grow new plants from stem cuttings. Okay, if you look at page 44 in your textbook, you can see 2 pictures, one of the strawberry plant and one of the impatient plant. Okay, all right, excellent. Let's keep rolling. We're on page 21 now. Can you remember this? This is 21 in your workbook, 45 in your textbook, and we need to put a number in each box. Okay, step 1, if you remember, what was step 1? It was to cut the bark, wasn't it? Step 2, okay, was to remove the bark. Step 3, we wrapped with coconut fiber. Step 4, we tied it off. Now, if you remember back to Teacher John's video, I tied the string in the middle of the coconut fiber. That way does work. I've tried it before. But in this picture, you have string at both ends. That's also fine, okay? Whatever way you use should produce results. Okay, number 5, what does it say? The branch is ready to be cut when the roots form and turn brown. So the roots will grow inside the plastic bag, correct? When they have grown enough, you just cut off that branch and you stick it into the ground, which is on box number 6. Okay, then you have a new tree or a new plant. Okay, isn't that wonderful? Again, you guys can try this at home, but make sure you have an adult with you and you are very, very careful with any cutters or knives that you use. All right, excellent. Let's move on. Page 22, okay, and 46 in your textbook. This is called budding, isn't it? Okay, number 1, we say use a knife to cut a T shape. Number 2, peel back the bark with the tip of the knife. Number 3, slice a bud from a branch of another plant. Okay. Number 4 was place the bud inside the T. Number 5, wrap the bud in plastic sheet for 7 days. And number 6, remove the plastic to see the new growth, okay? This is called budding. If you're interested more in this topic, have a look on YouTube. Type in budding plants in Thailand, okay? Page 23 is the last one, grafting, okay? 4 steps to grafting. The first, use a knife to make a slit. A slit is like a hole through the stem, okay? Number 2, take a new stem cutting and use a knife to trim the bottom to a V shape. Okay, number 3, you put the new stem in the existing stem, and number 4, you wrap with plastic film, and it should develop a new plant, okay? Because the old stem, if we look at my mouse here, the old stem, let's go to box 4, the roots are in the ground already, okay? So that new stem is going to suck up water and nutrients through the old stem to the new stem, and then you get a new plant. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, it is. Okay, good. Page 24, this will be part of your homework today, okay? What do you need to do? You need to go to page 48 and 49 in your textbook, and you need to study the life cycle of a moss plant by yourselves. You need to draw these pictures into the boxes, the correct boxes, and then you need to write next to your drawing what is happening, the different steps or processes, okay? So page 24 you can do, page 25 you can do by yourself. The answers are on page 48 and 49 in your textbook. I'll give you number 1. Start with a mature moss plant will develop capsules which contain spores. So start from there and then go through the whole life cycle of the moss plant. Okay, excellent. So that's your homework. Page 5 in your vocabulary book, guys. Page 24 and 25 in your workbook. Remember, with your vocab book, always always copy the highlighted part from your textbook into your vocab book. And then we'll be grand, we'll be great. Okay, excellent. Last week, I talked about a bonus project to make a footed tray. Well, let's leave you with a quick example, okay, that was made in class 5A, okay, or in, I should say, a grade 5 classroom, I should say, okay, and then you can still do by yourself and email Teacher John a picture of your work. I've already had a couple of emails, so well done. Okay, let's see, we'll leave you with an example, but for now, have a nice and wonderful day, everybody. And I hope all of your other subjects are going well, and I'll speak to you all soon, okay? Goodbye, grade 5.